Does your foot ever hurt right here? Welcome to the Ageless Runner. I'm Ralph. Hey, before I talk about how I cure my plantar fasciitis, would you mind subscribing to my channel by clicking that subscribe icon down in the corner of this video? Thank you so much. So I did want to say right off the bat, I have no medical training. I have nothing other than a first aid class. I have no medical background. But I did suffer with plantar fasciitis about 4 years ago. And a while back I had a viewer on my channel ask if I knew anything about plantar fasciitis. Well, I do, because again I suffered with it. And I thought I would share my story with you, and perhaps it would help you, because plantar fasciitis is not an uncommon ailment for runners to have. So if you're suffering with it now, you probably have done some research to know that plantar fasciitis, it comes from the plantar fascia muscle on the bottom of our foot. It gets inflamed. What causes it? There's a lot of discussion about what causes it. I don't know if there's any one reason. One of the things they talk about is being on hard surfaces, whether standing, walking, or running on hard surfaces a lot. And I think maybe that's what happened to me. When I started running, I did it to run a trail marathon. So for several months before the marathon, I was doing almost exclusively trail running, which is on ground, which is soft. Then once the race was over, I started running almost exclusively on asphalt and concrete, and that's when my plantar fasciitis developed. So it may have been due to all that pounding, that change in running surface under my feet that irritated my plantar fascia muscle. So after about 3 or 4 months of getting nowhere with my pain, I decided to seek help through a podiatrist. And I did a little research and found one that said she had an interest in treating plantar fasciitis. And I mention that because you may be like me and you may have a structural issue with your foot. I didn't know that I had one. But I went into her office, they x-rayed my feet, and she came in there and looked at the x-ray and says, "Oh my gosh, you have really high arches." I had no clue, I had no idea. Well, high arches can make plantar fasciitis a little more likely. And so one of the first things she did was describe custom orthotics for my shoes, which I wear today. I wear them all the time, never go without them. But that really wasn't what I feel cured my plantar fasciitis. It certainly helped. I think it helps me from getting a recurrence, but it wasn't what cured it. What did it for me were the calf stretches she showed me. She showed me 2 calf stretches. And I was reading the other day, just doing a little research again, that about 80% of people who suffer from plantar fasciitis have tight calves. So that was probably my issue at all. So let me show you those 2 calf stretches, then we'll come back and talk about the rest of my story. So this first stretch is for the back of our calves. It's this area right here. So you need something to lean against. I'm going to lean against my truck, but you can lean against a wall or a kitchen counter or back of a chair or a couch. All those work. Take that foot behind you and keep the leg straight and lean into it until you feel that stretch in the back of your calf. If you don't feel a stretch, either move your foot back a little bit or lean more into it, or do both, whichever you need to do to fill that stretch, and hold that for 30 seconds. Now there's another muscle in our calf area behind the shin bone. It's called the soleus. We want to try and stretch that too. So move this foot in a little bit, bend your knee, and then lean in from there. Now this one's a little more subtle to feel if you're doing it, but I kind of feel some tension in the lower part of my leg in the front, and so I feel like I'm stretching my soleus muscle. Again, do that for 30 seconds. So after you've done both those muscles, do the other foot. Even though you may only have pain in one foot, do both feet. You want to keep your legs kind of balanced. And those are the stretches that really benefited me. So I did those 2 calf stretches multiple times a day, 4 to 6 times a day. Did both feet, and I started feeling relief in my pain within a matter of weeks. It was 4 years ago, I don't remember the exact timing, but within about 6 weeks, my pain was gone. Now I didn't start running again for 8 because I wanted to wait until I had a follow-up appointment with my podiatrist, and that was about at the 8-week mark. And at which time she gave me a go ahead to start running. But within 6 weeks, my pain was gone, and I attribute it to those 2 calf stretches I just showed you. Now I still do those today. In fact, what I just showed you, I did those after my trail run today. I wanted to stretch my calves. I still do that every day. I often do it in the morning, because in the morning we wake up, our muscles are kind of tight, we're kind of stiff, and that's one of the stretches I'll do in the morning. I always do it after a run. I think it's good when the muscles are warm to loosen up and do that. Now the other thing, when I went in to see her, she asked me, "What are you doing right now to treat your plantar fasciitis?" I showed her this stretch you often see, where you grab your toes and pull your toes back and try and stretch your muscle. She looked at me and said, "Oh no, don't do that, that's way too aggressive." And if you think about it, here you've got this inflamed muscle and you're stretching it as far as you can. That can't be good, right? So if you're doing that stretch, stop it. Do those 2 calf stretches I was showing you. The other thing I did was take one of those 500 milliliter water bottles and freeze it. and then you can take that bottle and roll it, put it on the floor and roll your foot over it. The cold will help with the pain. It'll help reduce some of the inflammation and swelling in your foot. That was really good to help with the pain and discomfort. And I did that almost every evening after work. So a recommendation is start with those calf stretches I showed you. See, that gives you some relief. If you're not getting relief, then you might want to consider getting some professional help and seeing a podiatrist. So I wish you luck if you have plantar fasciitis. I know it's awful. It took me almost 6 months. By the time I tried to do my own self-treatment and got professional help and got it cured, and that's a long time to not be running. So I wish you well. Hope you get that licked, and I really appreciate you watching my video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider clicking that subscribe icon. Thank you so much.